All right, now, so right now I'm gonna go over how to like make your cut when you're getting ready to install your lighting. All right, so you have your track here. Let's say you run into a corner, but first, let's talk about this corner right here. All right, so the track comes in two different pieces, right? So you have your back plate that get mounted into either the house. So you mount this piece first, and then this piece comes on top of it and snap in, all right? But when you get your system, when you get your whole lighting system, the light's not gonna be set up like that. You gotta snap the lights in. So we're gonna go over how to snap the lights in when you're getting ready to set it up. All right, to get these out, these lights, just find a little corner area. You see where you can push in while you're pushing the lights down. So pop them out. All right, so I'm popping the lights out. So I'm gonna pop them out so you can then pop them back in so you can see how I do it. Just in case. And this one's pretty tough. Come on. Yeah, sometimes these would be a little tough to pop back out. Just gotta find the right angle here. Just push to the side. Push to the side. All right, we got two more. So last one here. Come on. Get out. All right, perfect. All right, a little bit of work to get out, but all right, so this is how the track is, right? It's easier to make cuts while there's no lights on it, but let's say that let's say we want to make a cut like right here. All right, let's say right here is our turn, right? It's our turn right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this, all right? Let me snap this first. Put this piece together first. All right, so this piece together, I'm gonna cut it up, right? And make there's different ways to do it. All right, excuse me, somebody was calling me. All right, so there's different ways to make the cuts, right? But you could basically, I'm gonna show you the different ways that you could do it. All right, so the first option that you have, let's say I want my lights, I wanna make the cuts like right here, right? So I could use this angle measurement right here, all right? And get a pencil and make a line right there. There's my line right here. All right. And find the end. Make another line here. And find this end right here, make another line here. All right, perfect. So this is a corner end that I'm making right here. All right, so I have my lines. So I'm gonna pop this back out. All right, pop this back out. All right. All right, so for this piece right here, this piece, where is it at? Okay, so let's say it's gonna be like right there. All right, so to cut this up, I'm gonna use my cutting tools. And when I go right here, cut right there. Not good. It don't have to be like super long. All right, guys, so we are back at it again. Sorry, video got cut. So again, what I did is I used this, right, to line up the corners, right? All right, so I line it up. I only cut this up right here. So let's say I'm gonna have my corner run into right there. All right. Put this there. I'm just trying to make sure that it's perfect on that, on this right here. All right, so perfect. So this right here, so you have two different options. So if you have a eave that have stucco, you probably need to pre-drill it using these type of screws. You could pre-drill using a little anchor. And then you're gonna drill the stucco, use an anchor, and then you're gonna have a hole in this so you could drive it in. If you have plastic that you could drill into a wood, so what you could do is you could basically go straight in. You could use a self-tapping screw. You could use these little tiny screws right here I really like to basically drill it. But if you're pre-drilling, you could get a metal bit like this so you can make your holes, right? It's a different option, but since I'm doing it right here on the wood, I'm just gonna drill right into it using the little tiny screw. So it's a different option here that you can use. All right, so I'm basically gonna drill right in, line it up. All right, so I'm going right in there. All right, boom. Got that there. See, I'm doing this right here too. Perfect. All right, so I have this already drilled in. So now I'm gonna cut this up so you can see how it is, all right? So you're gonna get your cutter, all right? You're gonna get your cutter. You're gonna make a cut right here first. All right, make a cut right there. All right. Oh, actually, it's supposed to be like right here. Right there. And then, see this right here? I'm gonna make another cut right there. All right. So you could kind of like, you kind of bent it away. I could clean this up later on. All right, so I could just basically bend it out. All right, so all right, so let's finish this up. So again, I'm just gonna clean this up a bit from there, right before I even cut the other piece. So I have this right there. I'm gonna snip this a bit. Yeah, so we could just cut that. Sometimes it'll be a little tricky. Cut this piece. And see if I could get it like this better. All right, perfect. All right, so I got my corner set, all right? So this is gonna go like right here. So I'm gonna make another piece like that. So I'm gonna use this other tool. Well, first of all, let me cut this piece out. Let's cut this piece out. Cut this out. All right, so yeah, so I have this right now, and I want to make this corner, this side right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this tool. All right, I'm gonna take this tool, line it up. All right, it's gonna go like right there. All right. That's right. All right. This right here. All right, boom. All right, so now I'm gonna cut this one right here. I'm gonna start from this side. All right. And then go straight. All right, perfect. All right, so now I got this piece. All right, could go like right here. All right. Bam. All right. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this off right here too and show you a different way to do it. All right, so let me cut this piece off right here. Cut this piece off right there. You really put measure it, but I'm just kind of eyeing it a bit. All right, boom. So I got this piece set right here. Boom. All right. All right, so boom, we got that set. So this is how you make the corners. All right. So what I'm gonna do here too, I'm gonna show you how to make another corner like on a way. So you could do it this way, right? Or I'll just snap this in. Probably gotta cut this up a bit. All right, so it'd be sitting like that. And then what I should do is I should do another piece. I guess I'll do it at the end right here. So what you could do too, you could do another piece. Another way to do it. All right, so we already did this piece right here. This is one way to do a corner. Another way to do a corner is like this, right? You just close this back piece right there. You close this back piece and then make a little hole there and you connect this to it. So let's go ahead and do it. So let's say I measure, let's measure an inch back. So like right here. All right, so this is how much I need. Need this right there. So I'll make my line. Make my line. All right, got that. So I'm gonna cut just these part right here and then I'm gonna fold that. You hear what I'm talking about? So this right there, cut this. All right, go right here. We're gonna, steady, cut this, fold this like that. All right, so I'm gonna cut this piece right there too. Cut this. so we could fold this back. Usually, fold it like this. All right, just create an end piece. So what we could do, we can kind of like cut this a little bit too, just so it could go in there. All right, you could kind of like snip this just a little bit. Snip it just a little bit. Come on. I don't do it too. Just a tiny bit like that. Same thing over here. Alright. So now I can fold this back just like this. Alright. Let's cut this a little bit because the back piece is gonna be sitting there. Alright, so this is how you do this side right there. So this is all closed up. Alright, so it'll be like that. Alright. Give me a second. Alright, so yeah, so we walked over how to set this up. So now you know how to do this end, and then we could just basically just connect this like right there. All right, so we're gonna make a little cut right here too. We're gonna make a cut right there for the wires to come through. All right, just so. All right, if you want, you could just probably just fold it in the inside. All right, just fold it in the inside like that. So now you can have the wires going through here and just like that. All right, so that's two different ways to do it. So boom, have that right here, this right there, just like so. All right. So now I'm gonna basically, let me just set it up and put the lights on and everything so you guys can get a better feel of it. All right. So we give a little bit of space there just so it could sit right. All right. All right, so I'm gonna cut this right here. Again, you could just kind of eyeball this and cut that up. Okay. So this piece should go like right here, so like so. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna be sitting like that. Just like that. All right. Boom. Cool. All right. So I can see where I'm gonna have it at. Right. So we got that. Let's go ahead and screw this in there. All right. So again, what I'm using is I'm just using these little tiny screws. Depend on what surface that you have. But I'm just gonna use this just to set this down. I just one screw. All right, set that right here. Okay. I think it moved a bit too. All right, boom. So we got that set. So now this other piece right here. A little cut right there. All right, so I'm gonna cut this right there. Gonna eyeball it. So this is gonna be sitting like somewhere like that. All right, and it's gonna be right over it. Just like that. Okay. Just like so. So now, if you really want to make this like super clean, what you could do, if you want to make this super clean, like these little corners, you could just get caulk and kind of like caulk them right here just to make it like super clean. All right. So I'm gonna screw this in right there too. All right. Yeah, I like these little screws. All right. So we got this set. Down. All right. And also we could just choose to close that also too, or bring another piece there. But I'm just showing you how to do these pieces, right? So now we could basically put the lights in and get everything up and running, right? So remember, light's gonna be going like that. So if you look again, you'll see where the arrow is pointing, right? Going this way. So once you finish setting up all your tracks, you basically, it's good to do the corners first. So basically snapping all your lights in. Snapping your lights in. It's easier to snap the lights in instead of taking them off. It's easy to just snap it in there. All right, so remember the wire go here. All right, you have this one right there. So if you're running extra power cable just to give to boost it up, you could run it through this track and make it go way further out there and just inject it with power, so the lights could stay as powerful and strong with the 12 volt or 24 volt, whichever you choose. All right, so now snapping in the lights, we have this piece in, so we're basically snapping that in right here. I'm gonna come here, snap this part in. All right, snap this in, come right here, snap that in. All right, I'm gonna give this one screw. All right, what did I do here? All right, perfect. Yeah, so we got this set up. That's good, that's good, that's good. All right.